lymphatic, and we're going to wrap it up fairly quickly today. Remember, we have a test tomorrow. My part of the test is going to be 20%, according to Dr. Newkirk. So I'll try to provide you with maybe 2 pages, multiple choice, maybe about between 10 and 15 questions, multiple choice, short answer. Yeah, depending what mood I am. I have a number of multiple choice questions, and I also have a number of short answer. And there's only, what, 50 in this class? That shouldn't take too long to grade. So, it might be a mixture. There's 70 of you? Okay. In that case, I'll give you.
That's going to include all the hepatic stuff in your day, correct?
Includes everything that I open my mouth and say, except the food deficit stuff. I just thought that was interesting. I'm trying to treat you guys like what you are, right? Which is, you're going to be veterinarians shortly, and these are some of the issues that you're going to be facing, and you know they'll have these cameras pulling up to your hospital, and they'll stick a microphone in your face and ask you, what do you think? So hopefully you'll think something. All right. So, ruminant hepatic system. So basically, this is going to follow the outline that we had last week as far as looking at the history of physical exam. So you can refer to the ruminant cardiovascular system for what I said about history and physical exam. Specific to the hepatic physical examination, as you can imagine, there's not too many interesting or exciting non-infectious diseases of the liver or the hemolymphatic, for that matter, in ruminants. And remember what I said last week, that we kind of artificially divide these courses into infectious, non-infectious, and so on. So, but everything is interrelated. Specifically to the hepatic physical examination, there are a few things that you're going to be doing when you suspect liver disease in ruminants. One of the take-home messages is that icterus is pretty uncommon in ruminants, right? So if you're looking at a ruminant that has these very icteric mucous membranes, the gums, the vulva, and so on are quite icteric, so very yellow in appearance, that should trigger something in your mind that's uncommon, unusual in ruminants. So that's definitely abnormal in ruminants. So you examine the mucous membranes for icterus, and you see that they're icteric, and right away you say, that's uncommon. And one of the things you want to do, in addition to your CBC and chemistry, your serum chemistry and so on, which we'll talk about in a second, you're also going to collect urine to check ketones. Yes, oftentimes ketotic animals will also present as icteric, because the same metabolic processes that are causing them to be ketotic are also eventually going to cause them to be icteric. In your physical examination for the liver in ruminants, if you can feel something, feel a bulge behind the costal arch on the right side, then that's telling you that you have an enlarged liver. Normally, it's going to be small enough to where you're not going to be able to feel it. So the animal is standing, especially if it's a goat, right, a small ruminant. It's pretty hard to deeply palpate a full-grown cow, for example. But say it's a small ruminant, you're palpating deeply behind the costal arch, so behind the last rib on the right side. And if you're able to feel a solid mass in that region, that's telling you that you have an enlarged liver, because normally you're not going to be able to feel it. All right? I put percussion in question marks because some of the books still say percuss, but ultrasound would probably give you a better appreciation of the extent of that enlarged liver, if in fact it was present. All right. So talking about ultrasound then, as far as some of your diagnostic tests, so you're going to do it on the right side of the animal, so the biggest part of the liver is going to tend to be over on the right side of the abdomen, high up and caudal to the last rib. And in a normal animal, you're not going to see the liver at all. So it's going to have a somewhat enlarged liver. You can see the gallbladder and just a portion of the liver. You're not going to be able to visualize all of it via ultrasound. Yes, it's a limited view, so just because of the constraints that you're under, trying to angle the probe to visualize the liver behind the ribs, you're not going to be able to see all of it. If the animal has a fatty liver, for example, you may see that ground glass appearance that you've been learning about for the last couple of years in severe hepatic lipidosis. And I think you already had that when you did metabolic diseases. You can also biopsy the liver. So of course this is going to depend on whether the owner is willing to spend a little bit of money, take a little bit of time to get the results back. And these are the landmarks on the right side. You draw a line from the wing of the ilium on the shoulder, and then from the wing of the ilium to the elbow, and you count backwards 13, 12, 11, 10. So the 10th intercostal space is you prep the skin between these two imaginary lines that you drew. And you can either do it blindly or ideally you do it under the guidance of ultrasound, except that a lot of times you actually can't see too well between the ribs, depending on the size of the animal. So you may have to do it blindly. And if you're doing it blindly, then these are your landmarks here. So that's kind of what it looks like there. Just drawing your line from the wing of the ilium, so that's the hip, to the shoulder, hip, to the elbow, and come backwards 13, 12, 11, 10. And that's your spot right there. Some further diagnostic tests, and the one that we'll spend a little time on, and I guarantee you're going to be tested on this slide here. Lots of great questions to ask based off this slide. So there are a few things that you'll notice about your liver enzymes. If you're asked which liver enzyme is liver specific, so the answer is going to be SDH. The other enzymes that we look at when you get your serum chemistry profile back, and looking at it, GGT, alk-Phos, and AST are not liver specific. They can be found in other tissues that are listed here. Whereas SDH is liver specific, so it's found in the cytoplasm of the hepatocytes, right, the liver cells. So it is liver specific. That's the good news. The limiting factor or the bad news is that it's not routinely performed in all labs. So you're going to have to call the lab that you're working with and ask them if they do actually do SDH. So that's one message there. Also, you'll notice as far as the half-life of these liver enzymes is concerned, so SDH is liver specific, but has a short half-life compared to these others that are non-liver specific. Everybody see that? So what does this mean practically? It means that you need to get your blood sample or your serum sample to the lab as quickly as possible. So you want to call your lab ahead of time, first of all, to find out if they do this test, if they do run SDH, and if they do, you need to get it to them as quickly as possible. Occasionally I test on what tissues these are found in, but like I said, I don't like to memorize stuff too much. Just be aware that that GDT, alphos, and AST are non-liver specific. And they're also membrane bound, whereas SGH is liver specific and is found in the cytoplasm. So that's another way that's differentiated from these other enzymes. So these other enzymes are membrane bound and found in these different tissues, whereas SGH is found in the cytoplasm of hepatocytes, so it's liver specific. And also make note of the half-life. So SGH has a short half-life. What does that mean practically? It means that you're going to have to get your sample to the lab as quickly as possible. I've got 3 or 4 questions on this. All right. Some other diagnostic tests: serum bilirubin. So you'll see that in your, in your regular serum chemistry. It can be a little hard to interpret in ruminants because the normal total bilirubin can be nothing, 0 to 0.5, and it's only slightly increased in liver disease, so it's not a very sensitive liver disease test in bovine. Okay. Let's see. So having said that, if you do get a bilirubin greater than 2, so remember the normal is 0 to 0.5. So if you get a bilirubin greater than 2, then that's practically what's the word? Pathognomonic. It guarantees that you have liver disease if there's no hemolysis. Remember, when your sample is hemolyzed, the blood cells are breaking down, releasing bilirubin, and that's going to falsely elevate your results. But if you submitted it on time, it's not hemolyzed, and you get a bilirubin greater than 2, then you can be reasonably confident that you have liver disease in that ruminant. All right? So those are the take-home messages about serum bilirubin in ruminants. It's not a sensitive liver disease test because it's only slightly increased in liver disease in the bovine, for example. But if you get a significant increase, then that's a good indicator that you have liver disease, providing your sample is not hemolyzed. Bile acids is a specific liver disease test in bovine. So what you've probably already done is you've made note of which serum chemistry tests are liver specific. So if you're asked, bile acids and also which one? SGH. Yeah. So bile acids and SGH are going to be your 2 liver specific serum chemistry tests. So bile acids, and again, if you get a bile acid greater than 60, then again that indicates you have liver disease. Bilirubin, not that sensitive, but if it's greater than 2, that indicates liver disease. But as far as your liver specific tests, the 2 that you asked for would be serum bile acids and SDH. And bile acids is also not routinely run. So again, you're going to have to communicate with your lab to make sure that they actually do bile acids, or ask them to do bile acids, pay a little more money, and you'll get your results. All right, so some abnormalities that you're going to notice in the ruminant hepatic system. Like I said, they don't commonly show you, very dramatic clinical signs where they do have liver disease. Occasionally you'll get diarrhea. Occasionally you'll see abdominal pain, and occasionally they'll be icteric. But like I said earlier, icterus is somewhat uncommon for you to be able to appreciate that a ruminant is actually icteric. If you do see it, then there's a chance that it has liver disease, but it's just not common to see it. All right. And let's see, that's what I want to say about this. So that's relatively self. Colic in ruminants, so they don't present as dramatically as horses, right? The complaint might be that it's just standing in the corner most of the time, grinding its teeth, and not moving around. Okay, so they're not moving around because their abdomen is painful, and they're grinding their teeth because they're painful, So that may be the only sign that you see. You're not going to see a cow throwing itself on the ground and thrashing and, acting like a diva. You're just not going to see that with cows. They're just going to drop dead, unfortunately. It's just a fact. But occasionally you will see collagen acute liver disease in ruminants. All right. So, moving along quickly. So everybody got those take-home points as far as your liver enzymes, your clinical signs, and so on. Excellent. So as far as the disease that you're going to be held responsible for, we're not going to do hemochromatosis just because you never see it. I saw, I think, 2 cases about 30 years ago. No, I haven't been noticed that long. About 20 years ago. But not really that important. And like I said, it's hard to actually find an interesting non-infectious hepatic disease. So, the congenital hyperbilirubinemia are the 2 diseases that I want to concentrate on as far as studying for the exam. Unfortunately, again, you're just going to have to memorize. As far as unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia versus conjugated. So GU, Gilbert, unconjugated. DC, Julian Johnson, conjugated. I used to ask you what breed of sheep they're commonly found in, except that nobody knows what a self-down looks like versus a Cardale. Just be aware that these are hyperbilirubinemia that tend to occur in sheep. All right, so the big giveaway is that I'm going to start describing a case of a sick sheep that's presenting with a clinical sign of icterus. So I already told you that that is uncommon to find icterus in ruminants. So certainly it would be uncommon to see a sheep with icterus. So that should trigger, should turn on a light in your brain to realize that you're probably dealing with a congenital hyperbilirubinemia. Congenital, so more than likely it's going to be a young sheep that's presenting with this sign of icterus. All right? And let's see. That's probably all you need to know. There is no treatment, so it's one of those times when you look smart as a veterinarian diagnosing it. There's really nothing you're going to be able to do to reverse it. You can see the pathophysiology here. And remember, it's a congenital hyperbilirubinemia. So the animal was born like that with this defect, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do to reverse it. You can try to manage it. Tell the owner a low-protein diet. Well, to an owner, what's a low-protein diet? So, it's difficult to manage the disease. It's just something that you're going to make note of. So, it's a congenital hyperbilirubinemia. The most you'd probably tell them is don't breed those sheep that have this disease. So, hemo-lymphatic system. Again, not too many exciting non-infectious hemolymphatic diseases. You guys already did lymphocytoma, right? Right. Yeah, see, it's old news. So yeah, so not very many exciting non-infectious diseases. So a couple of take-homes about the hemolymphatic system. Those of you who've been out in the pasture with me remember me saying that unless I see the area where these lymph nodes are located, unless I see that it's enlarged, I'm not going to spend time trying to palpate the ruminant to try to feel these lymph nodes. They don't like you, feeling all around them, especially around their head. And also, you a lot of times don't feel it, and then you're saying, oh, it doesn't have lymph nodes. Yes, it has it, but it's normal size. It's small, so you're not feeling it. So unless I see that the area over which these lymph nodes are located is enlarged, I don't spend time digging around trying to find them. But you guys, from your anatomy classes, you're probably already aware of these different lymph nodes, the submandibular, retrofrendial, and carotid. So these are in the region of the head. And then your prescapular, superficial cervical, so that's in front of your shoulder. And then your prefemoral or subiliac, that's in front of your femur. And then your popliteal is behind the knee. And then supramammary or suprascrotal, depending on whether it's male or female, found above the mammary gland or above the scrotal area. And you definitely don't want to routinely try to investigate this, especially with bulls. If it doesn't look enlarged, just leave it alone. Right? So one of the things you will note in the course of your physical examination is whether the animal is pale or icteric, right? And we just told you that icterus is somewhat uncommon in ruminants. So paleness, you'll notice that more frequently, and you'll probably say, okay, this animal may be anemic, maybe losing blood, maybe parasitized, and so on. So you will notice pale mucous membranes a lot more often than you notice icteric mucous membranes. Just a message to make sure that in the course of your routine physical examination, you also do a rectal palpation. If it's a large ruminant, if it's a cow, then you're also going to do a rectal palpation for internal lymph nodes. The last lymphosarcoma case